Welcome back to the cabin. It's the first week in August, and I came up for a few days to work on the cabin. And today, it's like a beautiful fall day up here. It's about mid-70s. The wind is in the trees. You can hear the wind. See the trees there moving. So yeah, I hope the rest of the week is like this, weather-wise. This is a little stream on my neighbor's property. It usually dries up by the beginning of June, but it's the 8th of August today, and it's still running. That's because we got a lot of rain up here last couple weeks. This is a view of the same stream on the other side of the road, and it's still running pretty good. We had rain all last night. Probably get some more rain this afternoon. I bought these two pieces of sheetrock and stored them up against the wall. They're going to be used in the bathroom, on the bathroom walls. And right now they're in the way because I'd like to hook up the propane line to the gas stove. So I took some measurements, and I'm going to cut the two pieces to approximate size that I need in the bathroom later on, and then stack them against that wall again, and that way they won't protrude so far behind the stove, because where that one is right now behind the stove, I have to drill through the floor for the gas hose and the fixture that screws into the floor. So I need to get that out of the way. So the plan today is to install this MidNite Classic charge controller. And I want to open the lid first, see what's inside. So this is what it looks like when the cover's off. The wires from the battery are going to go into these two, and the wires from the solar panels will go into the right two. This is the front cover, and it had little directions here. It said pinch the sides to remove this cover. Well, I pinched as much as I could not get it off. So I very carefully put a screwdriver here and was able to pry it up. So I had to do that because there's a battery here. I got to take this paper out from the battery for it to use operation. The battery saves the settings when it's turned off. So far so good. I'm going to take the paper out, put this cover back on, put the front cover back on. It's 4 screws. And then bring it down into the basement and find a place to hook it up. I'm surprised there's not more attachment points for this unit on the wall. There's 2 here, and there's 1 up top. But this is a heavy unit, and I would expect more attachment points. Of course, nothing's ever easy, so I pulled the paper out where the battery sits, and the battery came out with it. And then when I put the battery back in, it just jiggled around in there. So I actually ended up calling Backward Solar, where I bought this battery holder here. It's got 2 tabs on the top side, and they weren't pushing down far enough, so I used a knife to push those tabs down, then put the battery in, and now it's secure. It won't slide out. but the battery was sliding out before, so I want to make sure it made contact. Alright, so now I'll put the cover back on and bring this thing down into the basement. So here's my existing tracer charge controller. We're in float mode right now. The batteries are full. And this is the one that I'm going to be replacing with the MidNite Solar Classic. So first thing to do is to shut the power off, remove the wires, and then remove that charge controller, and then mount the new one and reconnect. So that's what we'll do next. So I got the MidNite Classic mounted to the wall. I got the battery wires coming in, and now wires for the solar panel. Alright, so now double check the polarity, add a ground wire, and then put the cover on. I got to remember to plug this into the front of the cover. This goes to the LED display screen. You know, MidNite Solar supplies these little screens that go into the cutouts for the ones that I don't use for wires, to keep spiders or whatever from crawling in here. There we go. Alright, let's try this out. Put on the battery. I read these off because I don't know if you'll be able to see them. So first it's asking me the source, which is going to be solar. So I click that. And then the voltage, which right now is 12 volts, that's correct. It's asking me for equalizing voltage, absorption voltage, and float voltage. The defaults here are fine for my lead acid batteries. It's asking me for the time and date. It's about 2 o'clock. Battery is at 12.4 volts. So now I'm going to put on the solar panel for the input. Alright, so I got 25 volts coming in from the solar panel. Battery is at 13 volts. And I got 10 amps coming in charging the battery. So it's working. The next thing I do is go up to the solar panels and add the second panel in series. This is just on one panel right now. So I don't know if this is going to come out, but this is what I'm seeing on my screen right now. I've got 26 volts coming in. On the right, the battery's at 14.3 volts. I'm charging with 9.4 amps and producing 135 watts. So that's what the MidNite Solar screen looks like. So the next thing I have to do is hook up these two solar panels in series. Right now I'm just using the panel on the left, and there's the wires there coming into the conduit that goes into the basement. So we're going to hook them up in series, then we'll go down cellar, turn on the power, and see what kind of voltage we get. We should get around 55 or 60 volts, I think. Alright, so I hooked them up correctly. We get 49 2 volts input from the solar panels. Battery voltage is 13.9. We get almost 24 amps coming in. That's more than double than what we had yesterday. What are we reading in the wattage here? 332 watts. So what I had before, I was just using the one 250 watt panel, and I just added a second 300 watt panel to it. So I basically have double the power now. There's a slight inefficiency because the panels are slightly different. I think it's their internal current is slightly different. But I talked to the manufacturer and they said it'd be fine. I might lose maybe 5% of the power that I would have gotten if they were both the same panel, but this is going to be fine. So now, yeah, we're up to 55 volts. Yeah, each panel puts out roughly 30 volts of power, so I figured the voltage would be around 55 or 60. So 55 sounds right with the slight loss, since they're slightly different panels. So yeah, this is great. Just doubled my power input from the solar panels. This will be great for cloudy days because I can pick up more solar energy with the two panels than just the one. I have the ladder out because last night I climbed up there and sprayed a wasp nest that it's under the eave. I don't know if it's going to come out in the video, but it's at the top right corner of that window. So I climbed up the ladder wearing my rain gear and goggles and gloves and sprayed the hornet's nest. And I come out here this morning and I can see all these dead hornets that fell out of it onto the bulkhead. So I don't see any flying around, so hopefully that killed them off. This is something I have to do during the season. I try and find anything starting out in the springtime and correct it then, but this one was about the size of a grapefruit, and somehow I missed it before. So yeah, got to get rid of that thing now before it gets any bigger. I thought I'd do a little show and tell today. I got two knives here I will talk about. This first, and probably the most important one for me, is this river knife. So if you're doing sailing, it's a good idea to have a knife on your life jacket. So if you happen to go over in the boat and get caught up in any lines, you can free yourself. So this knife has a blunt tip. This side is serrated for cutting rope, and the other side is smooth for cutting paper. It comes with a sheath here, which I'm going to clip on my life jacket, and it snaps in, and then you just push down to take it out, so it's easy to get out. and I haven't figured out where it's going to go in my life jacket. It's either going to go here or on the side, where I can put the straps, those tightening straps on the life jacket. I can put the straps through these, or there's also a belt holder, a clip, so you can clip it to your belt on the back side. So this is going to be real useful when I'm sailing. Oh, and to go along with that, so I got this whistle, which I'm also going to attach to my life jacket. And if I need help, I can signal when I'm out on the water. So this was less than $5 at Amazon. Got the knife from Amazon too. It's around $30. The other knife I want to show you is what's called a swage knife. Got this at Home Depot. And it's got a sharp blade on one side. It's serrated and very thick on the other side. I don't know if this comes out in the video. And the top, there's a edge that you can use as a chisel. So I thought this might be useful around the cabin. And one of the principal uses for it is if you're cutting kindling, the idea is instead of using your hatchet, put this on kindling, and then you can hit it to split the wood. I'm not going to use my nice rubber mallet because this serrated edge will probably tear it up, so you'd use a small log to hit on the back of this, and then it'll cut right through your kindling. So I thought that would be useful. It's got a nice holster for it too, so that snaps on your belt. And then the other thing is this flashlight holder. I've been looking for a flashlight holder and haven't been able to find one. We have a new Harbor Freight store that opened up near me, so I was in there one day looking around and I found this holster. The flashlight doesn't come with it, but it says it fits different size flashlights, and my little AA flashlight fits in there fine, and it has a clip that'll go on your belt. So I thought this would be a useful addition too. Next is to start the installation of the gas pipeline to the stove, kitchen stove. This is the flange that comes through the floor to protect the piping. I have to go down into the cellar and figure out where the floor joists are so I can mount this. So I'll do that first, then drill a pilot hole to see where it comes up, and then when I get the right spot, I'll drill a probably 3/4 inch hole, because this is 1/2 inch gas. Then we can feed the line up through the floor from the cellar, make the attachment with the fitting at the end. And this is a view from the basement of the bottom of the first floor. And I have this piece of plywood here. Eventually, there's going to be a stairway coming down to the cellar from the inside of the house. That'll be a trap door you can lift up to get down to the basement. So I know where the edge of this is up top. I've got 2 floor joists here, so that's 3 inches over. So I'll come over maybe another 3 inches to center the hole for where the gas pipeline will go up. So I'll go upstairs again and drill a pilot hole, take some of this insulation down so I can see where the drill bit comes down, And if it checks out all right, then I'll drill about a 3/4 inch hole to pass the gas line through. It's a real knuckle buster. Well, that cuts easily. So now I count over 2 ridges and take the insulation off. Alright, that worked. So now we put the ring on the first groove. Tighten that up. That looks good. Right. Get our fitting. So, the important thing is not to turn the fitting, but to turn the flange. Because the fitting has a flat end on it, and if you turn the fitting, it can score that flat end on the end of the gas line. What's actually happening here is we're flaring the end of the gas line into that fitting. That's what makes it tight. So now I'll get a wrench. That feels tight to me. Eventually we'll check all of this with soap solution for leak test. But yeah, put that right there. that's going to do it for piping for today. I have to get a line, flexible line that runs from there to the stove, to the oven. I have the shut-off valve. And then, of course, the other end of that yellow gas pipeline, I got to run to the other side of the cellar and hook it up to a piece of black iron pipe to go through the side of the house, and then I'll do the black iron piping out there where the propane tank's going to be. So yeah, good. Now I can move the stove back in place and until next trip. Well, that's going to do it for this trip. The weather was better than they forecast. They were talking about rain every other day, and we got some rain one day, but the rest have been nice. It rained at night a lot, and actually a couple of days it felt like fall up here. Windy and temperature in the mid-70s in the sunshine. So we got a little bit done, got the second solar panel hooked up, MidNite Solar charge controller, got a start on the gas line, got some relaxation. So it's a good trip. So if you liked the video, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you next time.